Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So it's time for the September Q&A. Each of you asked the questions, and I am going to answer them. I'm very excited for this Q&A, and I just want to say that if you have any questions for the next Q&A, leave them in the comment section down below. I will be sure to answer them in the next Q&A, and also, if there are any that I may have forgotten, please let me know, and I will be sure to add them in the next Q&A. And I just want to say before we get started with this, I want to thank you all for your patience with me. I'm sorry this is coming out so late. Naturally, this would be earlier, towards the beginning of the month, but, a lot of personal issues happened. My father's health was not very well. He's doing a lot better, and I want to thank you all for your support during this time. It's really meant a lot to me, and so I want to thank you all for your patience with me, and also your support. It's really helped me through this time, and I greatly appreciated all the kind messages, all the kind words and everything, showing your support. I appreciate it. I really do, and I want to thank you all very, very much. So let's go ahead and get started with the Q&A. We will first start off with the YouTube questions as usual, and then we will get to the Discord questions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into these questions. So the first question is from Donnie Pack asking, so this is for your Q&A, what was your favorite scene from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and what kind of alchemy would you study? Who's your favorite villain in anime? For me on this one, it's Lord Sosuke Aizen. Good choice. Good choice for a villain. Bleach is awesome, and I do like Aizen. And what are your thoughts on Izumi? So first off, my favorite scene in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood was definitely when Roy Mustang kills Lust. That fight was awesome. It's probably my favorite fight, honestly. At least one of them, if not my favorite. And I love how at the end, where there's the foreshadowing of Roy Mustang losing his eyes, when Lust is talking about his eyes being cold. And I kind of like that because, later on, it was all a part of his goal being his vision. And then, of course, he actually loses his sight. Man, I thought that was fantastic. That was, that was such a good fight as well as good foreshadowing. When it comes to my favorite villain, that's Lucio Raregroove from Rave. Or Rave Master, as many people may know it. God, I hate this character. I've talked about it multiple times. I hate this character with a passion, but I love to hate this character. I mean, the first scene that Lucia comes in, he comes in like a badass, and the next thing you know, after that, he does one of the most unforgivable things. Oh, man, I hate him so much. Like, he's the best villain that I think Hiro Mashima ever made. You want to talk about a good villain? Stood the test of time, in my opinion. I'm not going to spoil it, though, for anybody who wants to watch Rave or read the manga. Just saying. It's amazing. You should check it out. So, Izumi. I do like Izumi. For a teacher, she was very good to Ed and Al. I mean, yeah, she was pretty strict. But, sending them to that island, for a month. I mean, that was something. I mean, I really like her character, and I think that she had one of her best moments whenever she's fighting Greed. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Amazing fight. And when it comes to what alchemy I would learn how to use, well, I definitely would have to go with fire alchemy. I mean, seeing how powerful it was, that it could fire is also my favorite element. So yeah, I would definitely have to go with fire alchemy on that one 100%, in my personal opinion. But hey, that's just me. But yeah, good questions, man. AJ Mighty asked, do you know any anime based off Shakespeare works? I was big on Shakespeare back in high school, but I haven't read any of his plays in a long time. 2. Know any good Halloween anime specials? And 3. Team Avatar, the original, versus the homunculi from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Who wins? The Avatar state is permitted. Okay, so these are some very interesting questions. So, first off, when it comes to Shakespeare's works, if there are any anime based off of that, there's Romeo and Juliet. That is one of them. So if you do want to check out anything based off of Shakespeare's works, this is one thing. Of course, it is its own thing, so keep that in mind. And also Blast Tempest. Those would be two that I would recommend if you're wanting to look at something that would be based off Shakespeare's works, because Blast Tempest is actually based off Hamlet. So then when it comes to Team Avatar, the original versus the homunculi from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, that one kind of leans more towards the homunculi. Now, my reason for this is because when you have Gluttony, who was the fake portal, he could just basically suck them into that portal. Or, any attacks they throw at him in general. So if they wanted to just use Gluttony as, basically like a shield to suck up their attacks, that could happen. And then you have the other homunculi that could jump them at that point. So, really, homunculi could win in that way. And then, of course, you have how Gluttony could suck them into the portal, and then they'd have to try to figure a way out if they even can get out of there, which, of course, there's a way, but that's still iffy if they can figure that out. And then, of course, if you have Father who has absorbed God, yeah, no, Father just wins. Unless you have some kind of lucky source like, greed betraying Father and doing what happened. Other than that, I really don't see how they win. I mean, they still could maybe, but I think it'd be very hard, very slim. So, Christopher Capers Jones asks, what's the scariest way you've woken up in the morning? Mine involved a disembodied voice resembling my brother's voice shouting my name at the top of his lungs, only to find out I was the only one in the house with my dogs. That's pretty interesting. That would be pretty freaky. When it came to me, I had a dream once that I was in my home, and this was really bizarre. So I was sitting at the counter, and somebody broke into my home. And I tried to make a run to get a weapon, and they shot me in the back, and, just like right in the spine. It felt like you just got shot, and I woke up. It was absolutely terrifying, But yeah, good question, man. Elizabeth McGaden asks, if Emerald robbed Wario and Waluigi, how would they feel? Oh, they'd destroy her. that would be the end of Emerald. Could Yamcha beat Salem? Yes, very easily. I mean, you look at Yamcha, Yamcha's strong enough that he could take basically everybody in the world of Ruby on. It wouldn't be hard. Yamcha could do it. If Toadsworth met Jacques, how would he feel about him? Toadsworth would hate him. He'd probably just give him a lecture. Probably hit him with the staff. Who do you think would win between Bowser and Eggman? I think Bowser would win. I mean, Eggman has his intellect, but Bowser, well, I mean, you give him a superstar and he's invincible, and Eggman, what's he going to do that? He's not going to win. What did you think of the superhero battle royale from Death Battle? Did you agree or disagree? No, I never watched it, so I don't have an opinion on it yet. So yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't know, but I'll let you know what I think whenever I see it. What would happen if Mario fought Mercury? Well, Mercury would be destroyed because Mario, with his transformations, could win. I mean, he's got the superstar power making him invincible. So when he has that power up, I mean, what's Mercury going to do? Kick him and then do nothing? So Mario would win. It wouldn't be hard. It wouldn't be hard at all. But yeah, good questions. So Games ask, do you think Ruby still has a chance to be good? Because after Volume 7, I dropped the series and became cynical and jaded. And do you like Squall Leonhardt from Final Fantasy VIII? I think he's really misunderstood. Now, when it comes to Ruby, I don't think it's going to get better. And, the writers with those commentators' notes, see how much of a disaster they were. No, I don't think at all that the series can recover. I think at this point, if there was any chance of Ruby getting better, I think it's just been completely destroyed. I think that chance is come and gone. If there was a chance, Volume 6 was probably the last opportunity. And, the midway point of that volume, they just dropped the ball. So, yeah, I don't think there's any chance of it getting any better. That's my personal opinion there. Now, as for Squall Leonhardt, I think he's a very well-written character, actually. Like, when you look at him as a character, okay, so he doesn't trust people. He's distant and he's cold. But when you look at it, he didn't even know who his parents were. His sister was stolen and taken away from him when he was younger. I mean, with her being kidnapped, when you think about it, I mean, how would you be able to trust people at that point, especially when you're a child and you're watching this happen, and then you're growing up and you feel that because if you were to be vulnerable to open up to other people, at that point you would think that being vulnerable may cause weakness, and that's why he was more of somebody that was cold and distant, because he didn't want to, lose anybody else. I mean, I thought that was really interesting. Of course, then when he falls in love, that starts to change. But what I love about his perspective on things is that, he believes that right and wrong are not what actually separates people from their own enemies, but it's the perspectives. It's the way that they look at things that separates them. I thought that was actually a really cool thought process he had there on that. But yeah, I actually liked his character. I thought he was more of one to really critically think about. I actually liked him a lot. Pretty awesome. But yeah, good questions, man. PanzerCamp123 asks, nice Q&A. What is the funniest thing you have ever heard online? Oh, that's very simple. Let me show you. Let me show you something. Yeah, see, take a look at that, right? Good question, man. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you all did. Brandy Miller asks, have you heard of the Ruby channel called Phoenix Knight and Top 10 Worst Girlfriends in Anime? Yes, I've heard of Phoenix Knight. I've never checked out his channel, though, but I know of him. But yeah, no, I've never seen anything he's ever done, though. But I have heard that he is a conspiracy theorist for Ruby, in a sense. So yeah, that's about as much as I know of him. So yeah. But top 10 worst girlfriends in anime. So one on the list would definitely have to be Misaki Nakahara from Welcome to the NHK, because the problem with her is while she may be cute, she goes after a guy who is the main character, and his name is Tatsuhiro, and he's a shut-in. And basically what she does is she tries to lie to him, manipulate him, and is extremely codependent upon him, and always has to have validation, because she's trying to get him to be cured of his reclusive ways, and then whenever he doesn't, have love for her, like, he doesn't announce his feelings for her because he doesn't have any, well, she tries to jump off a cliff. Yeah, she's, pretty crazy. So, the next one I would probably say would be Louise from A Familiar Zero. Now, Louise herself was bullied by others, and so she gets a human familiar. Well, what does she do? She treats him in an abusive relationship. Yeah, no, I'm not even kidding. Like, herself, who is bullied by other people, she treats her familiar terribly. It's horrible. I mean, it's an abusive relationship. I mean, it's just really bad. And so, another one definitely has to be Lust. I mean, well, then again, Lust was a villain anyways, and, her and Havoc and everything that happened in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I mean, kind of a no-brainer that she was going to do that, but, still, think of it is that, her fight between Mustang, Havoc, it was a great fight, but yeah, it goes to show that while she is the embodiment of lust, and with anyone's eye of desire, well, she still uses those assets to take people down. Now, another one on this list would definitely be Kaede Fuyu from Shuffle. Man, this girl's twisted. For one, when she was a child, she lost her parents, and so what she did was she tried to kill the love of her own life, a few times, because she blamed him for the accident that took her parents. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. And so when it came to Ren's love life, because he wanted to date somebody else, she went full psycho and tried to kill the girl that he tried to date. Yeah, this is the face of crazy right here. I mean, seriously. She was completely unstable. I mean, this is a woman you would not want to get with. I mean, she's that insane. But, Junko herself from Danganronpa. Now, she's a character that, while I love her character personally, thing of it is that this is not a woman I would want to date because, man, she's going to lead to your death. That's the kind of girl that she is. I mean, thing of it is that, if you survive the death game, that's great, but Junko, in my opinion, is most definitely not worth it because she'll probably end in your demise. So, yeah, no thanks. But someone that I think is actually worse in the Danganronpa series was definitely Ruruka. Because when she was younger, she got betrayed by a friend, which led to her actually, fearing betrayal, fearing people, abandoning her. Well, think of it is that when it came down to it, she created candies to brainwash people, including her own boyfriend. And then in the final death game, she was going to plot to let everyone die but herself, including her own boyfriend. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. Another one on the list here would definitely be from School Days, which is Kotonoha Katsura. Now, she's crazy. Okay, first off, the way she gets her boyfriend, he cheats on his girlfriend to get with her, but then he starts cheating on this girl multiple times. But to be fair, he put it on himself, but she went completely unhinged and went and ended his own life. Yeah, School Days is insane. I mean, it really is. And then when it comes to Yuno Gasai, because she's on this list, I love Yuno, big fan of her, but my god, no thanks. She was so in love with Yuki that she was willing to go and kill his family and friends. Well, I love Yuno, and she is definitely the queen of yanderes. Well, she's the kind of person that you don't get on her bad side, because you might not wake up the next day. You know what I mean? I love Yuno, but man, I would say no to that in a heartbeat. Now, the worst, in my opinion, is Blake and Yang. They tie for first place. They're both terrible characters. Yang is just disrespectful to everybody. She's not who she used to be as a character. Absolutely awful. Blake, always has to victimize herself. Has to, be a spoiled little brat. Can't stand her. I can't stand either one of them. Had this actually been written out well, and their development gone over well, which, at this point, anybody could really ask what development, since the characters have regressed, Well, they're, in my opinion, the worst. Absolute worst. Everything would have been fine had this not been shoved down everyone's throats and this had been developed fine, but it wasn't. So, yeah, Blake and Yang take the worst spot, in my opinion. Jackson Hamilton asks, glad to hear, man. Q&A, are you getting a next-gen console? If so, which? What games are you looking forward to playing? So, I'm not going to get PlayStation. That's obvious. PS5 is a no-go. I'm not supporting PlayStation anymore due to everything that's gone on with The Last of Us Part 2 and all that. So, PlayStation is never going to get my support again. Xbox Series X, yeah, probably. It'll be a while, though. But, yeah, if I'm looking forward to playing anything, it'll be the anime games. But that's just me. Tamara Sasha asks, have you heard of Pula Magi Madoka Magica? If so, you like it. If not, I highly recommend it. If so, would you give QB to Team Ruby or JNR? So yes, recently I did get through Madoka Magica. I actually do really enjoy that series. And yeah, QB, yeah, no. I would definitely give QB to Ruby and JNR. Remnant would be doomed. They would never be able to stop QB. So yeah, no, I would definitely give QB to Team Ruby and JNR because, for one, they wouldn't see the villainy coming, and two, it would just be hilarious to just see it all in. But hey, I'm just saying. Donny Pack asks, so here's another question for your Q&A. What do you think for the future for Roy Mustang? I know he's the Fuhrer and he gains his sight back, but he still knows the truth, so that means he's probably the most powerful alchemist, but that's my opinion. Just let me know what you think. So, yeah, I think that he probably would have made things better than they were. Of course, you had Bradley, who was in charge, and, when you had Roy Mustang take over, I think that Mustang, for one, would have been the most powerful alchemist, definitely. I mean, having flame alchemy just like that, just incinerate anything, oh, yeah. Secondly, being able to have his sight back was great. And, yeah, I think that he did, in the end, become the best, in my opinion. But, yeah. That's just my opinions on the whole thing. Now, on to the Discord questions. Waifu Santa Coop asks, if I lift Thor's hammer, would you try and take it from me in a drunk wrestling match like the one I won my stool in? Well, here's what I would do. First off, I'd say you can have the hammer. I'll just go get the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stones. Yeah, then we'll have a good time. Let's see how many times you win after that. Would you rather kill a member of the Avengers or the Justice League? All other members will be your bros, whether you like them or not. Other than Zuko, who do you think has the coolest scar? So, when it comes to the Avengers, I'm gonna just destroy Captain Marvel. Nobody wants Carl Manvers around at all. Just saying. And other than Zuko, who do I think has the coolest scar? I always liked, from Yugioh, in the past life was Bakura. His scar when he was the bandit. I thought his scar over his eye was actually really cool, but that's just me. But hey, a brain scar is cool, man. At least you're okay. That's the important thing. At least you're okay. And hey, you'll always have to be like, hey, I got a cool brain scar. So at least you're doing all right. That's the important thing. So Ivan asks, if you can't see my name, just use Ivan. My question is, what do you think of urban exploration? Have you tried to do some urban exploration before? Yes, actually. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of urban exploration, in fact. So it was in my teenage years, as my friends and I, we would do it a lot. We discovered a cave one time that we would actually kind of go to every once in a while and kind of just chill at. We also came to like this one kind of structure. It was made out of like leaves and wood. I'll never forget that. That was actually pretty cool. We actually kind of made that a secret base, so that was awesome. And then my grandmother, whenever I was a teenager, she lived in an old Civil War house, and we did some urban exploration in the hidden rooms there because the house was actually haunted. I mean, it was pretty awesome. But yeah, I have fun stuff actually. You just gotta always be careful though. Anime AK 116 asks, just got started on playing Genshin Impact. What do you think of it, and would you say the Ruby-like art style fits the game better than Ruby the show? P.S. Who's your waifu from the game? Mine's Amber the Bowmaster. So I haven't played the game yet. I'd like to. I've seen gameplay footage, and I am definitely going to be getting that game soon. With everything that's just been happening recently in my life, I haven't been able to do much. So I am going to get the game soon, and I am definitely going to give it a shot because it looks great. The art style, I think, looks better than the Ruby art, in my personal opinion. But that is just me. But yeah, good question, man. Mr. Lonely Soul asks, what kind of superpower do you want? mind control. That would be great. I mean, could you imagine mind control, and then you could make people do whatever? I mean, it's kind of like Lelouch from Code Geass, where you have the Geass. I mean, of course, you can only use it one time on a person, but he could just kind of make them do whatever on that one time, and you have to strategically use it though. But yeah, that would be amazing, because then, like, if you ever get in a bind, something were to happen, then you could just kind of like mind control somebody. It's kind of like how Thanos one time actually mind controlled Galactus when they fought, and it was pretty crazy to see Thanos. Mind you, Thanos didn't have the gauntlet. I don't know. Mind control's always been one of those really cool ideas, in my opinion. I've always liked it. Ronan Slayer asks, "Are you really Brad Pitt in disguise?" Now that's a very good question. Now am I? But I think the most intriguing part to this would be to ask this question in return: Is Brad Pitt really me in disguise? See, we got to throw the hardball questions in there. We got to ask the real questions. Is he really me? Oh, Inception. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not Brad Pitt. Good question. So, Nothing asks, bit of a generic question, but favorite food, least favorite. The lockdowns have made me much more appreciative of burgers and Turkish grill personally. It's hard for me to say because when it comes to food, I don't have any food that I've ever eaten that I dislike. I've actually liked every single last bit of food that I've ever tried, like that I've ever had and tried. I've always liked it. I don't know. Now, when it comes to drinks, I'm extremely picky, but when it comes to food, I'm not picky about it at all. That's the crazy thing about me. But when it comes to favorite food, I don't know. That's hard for me to say. Because I mean, I kind of like everything. I guess if I had to say there was something I liked in particular, it'd probably be sushi. Because I really love me some sushi. It's fantastic. So then James goes on to ask this pretty good question here. This is interesting. So he asks, do you think this King Arthur is a better dad than Artoria? Oh, so the male version, right? Asking, where it goes, Arthur, don't spoil that too much. You mean Mordred? I'm sorry, she's strong and gallant, yet very cute, like you are. I can't help it. Well, I mean, he's being a nice dad. I mean, complimenting his own daughter. So, I mean, that's pretty nice. I mean, nothing wrong with Saber though, but at the same time, Arthur's doing a good job. It's always great to always encourage your children, be there for them, teach them things. It's always good to try to raise your kids the best you can. So, I mean, that's pretty cool that he's encouraging her. I like this one. This world, Mordred, is cute. Don't treat me like a girl. I'm a knight. Being a girl and a knight, is it wrong to be both? And then Mordred's just like, wait a minute. It's just like, wait, what? Because nobody's ever really asked her that. So I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. Mr. DJ Fly High asks, favorite fan-made RWBY manga, like, for example, RWBY Henceforward. I loved the RWBY manga with Raven and Adam. That was absolutely glorious. And it had beautiful art. I mean, it gave so much good characterization to Raven and Adam. It just did them some justice, in my own opinion. I love that manga, and the fight was great. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Personal opinion. So, Archilord asks, and I'm sorry if I butchered your name again. I'm trying to remember the way you told me to pronounce it. But yeah, I think it was Archilord. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But Archilord asks, kind of an interesting question. If RWBY stands before your door and asks you to help her clean from this corruption, what RT bring on her, would you help her or slam the door before? So going back up to the top 10 worst girlfriends list, right? I just slammed the door because I'm just like, no, I ain't doing crazy. That's modern RWBY, that is. Now, if we were talking like volumes 1 through 3 RWBY, okay, yeah, I would help that RWBY. But like modern RWBY, stay away from me. But that's just my opinion. Drake and Josh ask, this is sort of a two-parter. What is your favorite Dragon Ball fan manga? And what is some advice you would give in creating one? Oh, my favorite is still the one which was I was reincarnated as Yamcha. Oh man, that was so funny. Where the guy knows Yamcha in his life, and so what he does is he trains hard and he becomes the strongest. And then what was it? There was a bully that became Chaozu, and in the end they fight each other, and it was all a ploy by Beerus and Champa the whole time. Oh man, I love that. That was actually a really good fan manga. Now, when it comes to creating one, of course, always make sure to have your supplies. I mean, that's pretty common knowledge. But have supplies. Now whether you want to do it digitally or whether you want to draw it on paper, because I'm old fashioned, I draw things on paper. But what you could do is figure out whatever setting you want to do, whether it's in the world that everybody already knows, or whether you want to do your own world. Do it however you like. If you want to make a continuation of a story, or you want to make an alternate timeline story, or whatever, go for it. Now, always remember to keep the characters in character if you're going to be doing a continuation story. But always remember, go upon the guidelines of the world and how it works. But it's always important to always study the style and everything. Do it however you want, man. That's always important. Do whatever you feel is fun. Mr. Lonely Soul asks, question for the Q&A, are you worthy to lift Thor's hammer? Am I worthy? That's a good question. One of passion, will, purity, heart, strength, responsibility. There's a lot to that hammer, and I mean, you'd have to be very careful with it. You know what? I think I could do it. Honestly, grab that hammer and just smash it into things. Yeah, I think I'm responsible enough. I think I could do it. Would rather be a member of the Avengers or the Justice League? Oh man, I've always been more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy. Now, don't get me wrong, always been a fan of DC though, so I don't want anybody to think that I never did like DC. Now, I don't like what current DC is or current Marvel is, but when they were in their prime, loved them. But I was always more of a Marvel guy, so I'd probably have to go with the Avengers. Other than Zuko, who do you think has the best redemption arc? If I had to say, this really kind of more falls upon like something that I enjoy a lot. I think one of the best redemptions, I mean, I don't know if I'd say it's the best redemption arc, but I think one of the best redemptions of a character would definitely be Vegeta from Dragon Ball. From Dragon Ball Z. I love his redemption as a character. I think that was one of the most iconic moments when he decides to give himself up to save everybody when it comes to Majin Buu. When he blew himself up for that. Oh man, that really showed his growth from who he was, being a selfish character, to being selfless, to being a family man. Like, that's one thing, while the Buu arc has a lot of issues with it, that's like my favorite moment in the whole thing. I mean, oh man, I love Vegeta, and I love his, development. Just so good. Really is. Good question, man. Tamcat asks, which is the better written Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds? The Arcadia movement with Aki or Blake and the White Fang? Oh, definitely the Arcadia movement. 100%. Continuing on, who is better written, Adam or Divine? Definitely Divine. You see, here's the thing. When it comes to, that, right? Aki was a character who was feared because of her psychic powers. And of course, Divine just used her, That was the point, was to use her for his own reasons. His own motivations, because he saw the potential in her. And that's the thing, Divine himself, he promised her a home and everything, tried to treat her right as, she thought he was doing, right? But ultimately, he was just using her for his own deeds. And that's the thing, when you look at Blake and you look at Adam, well, they're like, oh, well, it's an abusive relationship. And then it's just like, well, where is it? I don't see it. Blake was nothing but a spoiled brat. And Adam got completely mistreated as a character. So Aki and Divine certainly have the better writing. 100%. They were written way better. Is Yusei a better love interest than Yang? Face shipping Yusei x Aki. Oh yeah, no, 100%. Way better than Bumblebee. That's not even a question. I definitely agree to that. Because, faith shipping, actually, it's like my favorite ship between any of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters. Because Yusei and Aki had so much chemistry. Their relationship was very well developed, especially when, Yusei himself even stated he was afraid of Aki at first when he met her. I mean, he was actually scared of her. And then, at that final scene where it makes you think that they might have kissed, which we don't know, but man, I gotta say, I think that they still probably did. They still probably did hook up, because when they leave, just the way they interact with each other kind of acts like they might have, but we all know how it works for Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters trying to get together. It usually doesn't work out for the most part, and it's unfortunate. Who will be the best waifu from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series and best husbando? And using these for the Q&A, last question, I promise. What do you think is a healthy fandom versus the toxic fandom in RWBY? So, first off, best husbandos and waifus. So, I think one of them in the list would definitely be Yusaku. Now, why I would put him low on the list, though, is because he was very socially awkward as a character, and, while he was actually a very interesting character to watch on screen, he really did develop, but the thing is that he went from doing decently, trying to open up, and in the end, he lost his only friend at the end of the show, and he came out more damaged than he did in the beginning. we never know if he ever got Ai back. But, when you look at it, I think he is someone who cares for people, cares for his friends. I think he would be good. Now, of course, we got to take a look at the Pharaoh Atim himself. I'd say that he would do very well. He was one who did go through darkness and, of course, overcame his darkness. And he did value his friends. I mean, he learned a lot from the Seal of Orichalcos, which, of course, while that was filler, think of it is that he did come out on top as a character in terms of development. And I think that really showed. And then again, of course, in the final arc, I think that he showed how much he cared. I think he would have been good for anybody he could have got with, to be honest with you. I think he'd be a great husbando. Besides, if you look at the Pharaoh's bod, that's a stallion right there. But the next one would definitely be Judai Yuki or Jaden Yuki and the dub. Now, I think that his story was actually a really good one. I think a lot of people can relate to his character because that was really one of a character becoming innocent and growing up, becoming an adult and seeing that the world is a pretty harsh place. That's what I liked about his story. I mean, if you haven't watched Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 3, go watch it because that season is so good. Judai falls into darkness. Yubel, I love Yubel as a villain. She's actually one of my favorite villains in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And, in the end of it, he comes out on top as a great character. I mean, he even gets to the point to where he is actually just not satisfied with dueling whenever he used to duel for fun, and he loved it. Especially when he learned how people would use dueling for evil. I mean, just remember, ladies and gentlemen, you ever have a conflict with somebody, you always have to solve it in a duel. There's no other way. but Judai was a very selfless character. I think that he, really did develop well. He overcame his darkness, and I think he was excellent. Okay, now Seto Kaiba, the best man. No, no, seriously though, Seto Kaiba, yeah, he's kind of a douche, but honestly, he, in my opinion, is still the best character in the original Yu-Gi-Oh series. I just wanted to bring this up because Dark Side of Dimensions, while that's supposed to be the ending to the manga, of course, he was the best part of that movie, in my opinion. Even made a time machine to go back in time to fight the Pharaoh. I'm not even kidding. But the best husbando definitely has to go to Yusei 100%. I mean, the guy himself, he's definitely someone that's caring, there for his friends. And, the only times he lost was once in a flashback, and the other time was against Kiryu or Kallen in the dub, which that fight was amazing. He was a character who actually never even fell into darkness. Now, when it came to his loss to Kiryu, he was the one character that got him in the Dark Signer arc, which I think is the best arc in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't think there's a better arc in Yu-Gi-Oh! But, he was depressed after that. And his D-Wheel, it obviously gave out on him first before the duel ended, but still, I'd still say that was a loss. But, which then, of course, he went and got shanked as he fell off his D-Wheel. Like, whew, talk about rough. I mean, if there's one thing you can say 5Ds was, it was probably prison time. But, when it comes down to it, I think that the character of Yusei, I think that he's the best. He's always been caring for his friends. He never gave in to darkness. He was always willing to save everyone, from anything. I mean, he was always willing to do it, even in the most, unsure of times. I think that he is the most concerning, and seeing how he helped Aki as well. I mean, the man was fantastic. I love Yusei. He's best husbando in Yu-Gi-Oh! For sure. Now, when it comes to the best waifus, so at the bottom of my list, it's kind of ironic that Yusaku would be on the bottom because Aoi's on the bottom of my list here because I like Aoi. Aoi Zaizen was a great character in terms of like her backstory, about her and her brother, and then of course, how they had to take care of each other, and then she wasn't allowed to duel, and so she took on this persona without her brother knowing as Blue Angel, and she was depressed in her life. But whenever she was her online persona, she was a completely different person. She was beaming with positivity. People loved her. She was an idol, and she was one of the best duelists. And, I thought that was interesting. Now, of course, she lost so many times when she had Trick Stars, though, which was like the best deck back in 2018. I don't know how she lost with a burn deck. Now, burn decks, if you know a competitive meta, people don't like them. But when she became Blue Girl, when she joined Ghost Girl and tried to have her as a mentor, I didn't think it was as good. And then of course when she became Blue Maiden, yet again that kind of fell off for me. But I think her highlights was probably in the beginning of the series, in my opinion. And of course, yet again, it's one of those moments of the male and the female, they're gonna get together, right? And they don't. God, that would have been great. Another one is Rio. I always liked her from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale or Zexel in the dub. Rio Castle, which was the twin sister of, Shark Castle, which you want to talk about a good character. I like Shark as well. But Rio herself, she had a troubled past. I mean, I'm going to tell you, talk about the problems that Shark and Rio went through with their reincarnation and then them dying, getting separated. Oh, man, it was just heartbreaking. And then, of course, being revived as a Barian Emperor, her being Marag. I mean, that was pretty crazy. Her having sympathy for having to kill her friends whenever she was going up against them. I mean, it was sad. And then, of course, the moment that hit me the hardest, I think, was whenever she died. I think that's the, most crucial moment in all of Zale is her death, and seeing how harsh that was whenever her Vector defeated her. It was really sad, I think. But, Rio is one of my favorites in the series, and man, just the tragedy of her character. I mean, it was great that she was revived in the end, but still, I mean, she had a lot of tragedy. Another one is Serena or Selena in the dub. Serena, in my opinion, was a good character. I think that by the end, though, she was just terribly mistreated. But then again, you could say the same for the U boys and the U girls. But think of it is that I like that she was independent because, you had Yuzu, who basically became a damsel in distress by half of the way through the series of Arc 5, as to where you actually had Selena, who was independent. She didn't have to have a U-boy to depend on anything. She just depended on herself, which I thought was great. And then, of course, she gets captured, and then she gets brainwashed, and then it's over. She gets sucked into the Arc 5 machine, and done. I really hated that. And then by the time Yuzu comes back, all the bracelet girls are all just absorbed into Yuzu, and they're all dead, basically. It was pretty bad. It was, oh, God. Arc 5's finale was trash, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to another one, Asuka, Tenjin, or Alexis Rhodes. Definite favorite of mine. I always loved her sweet personality. For someone who was very popular, which she could have used her popularity very easily to take advantage of things, she didn't do that. She was known as the Queen of the Obelisk Blues, and I loved her design as well. I mean, she had a great personality, motivation to find her brother, good stuff. And then, of course, I liked her Arc 5 outfit. I thought it looked a lot better. Problem was, her Arc 5 character was not treated well because, they had legacy characters, and some of the legacy characters, Asuka was not treated well. Now, number one is definitely Aki. I mean, there is no way I couldn't have Aki as number one. So Aki, or Akiza in the dub, she was, in my opinion, and still is this very day, best girl in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, for one, she has one of the best synchro monsters that, to this very day, has still been very relevant within the meta. I mean, Black Rose Dragon, fantastic card. I mean, that card is excellent. I've always loved using it. She's also been known for having her Merrick-like faces. I thought that was kind of funny. But, she was feared for her psychic powers when she was younger. And big thing of it is that she was mistreated even by her own family because of it, which they sent her off. And she was with the Arcadia movement, and Divine basically saw her abilities and used her. Now, of course, Yusei was the one that saved her, and, I thought that was great. And that was like the only character that she ever lost to in a duel. So, was Yusei. But, I love her design as well. I mean, her design is great. I love the red and black, look to her outfit design. I've always liked that. And then again, it also works with the Black Rose Dragon. Then again, of course, when you have Aki, in her biker uniform, oh man. Woo! She was gorgeous. They knew what they were doing there. But last question, I promise. What do you think is a healthy fandom versus the toxic fandom in Ruby? It's kind of funny because we were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! I've actually found the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fandom to be a pretty good one. I haven't seen as many bad things come from Yu-Gi-Oh! As I have Ruby. As someone who's also played competitive meta, I mean, I've seen some complaints here and there when it comes to the meta itself as well. But really, I haven't seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Been that bad. Of course, there were complaints when it came to Arc 5, but I haven't really seen it be that bad. Now, I could be wrong. I could be corrected there. But I've seen it be a lot better than, some fandoms have been. Now, someone who's also a big hardcore Pokemon fan, oh god, I've seen a lot of problems come from Pokemon community from time to time. But I've also seen a lot of good come from it. So, Pokemon's not even like half as toxic as Ruby is, in my opinion. Like, Ruby is just really, really bad. And, here's the thing. You'll find some good people that are in the Ruby community, or that were at one time in the Ruby community that like the older stuff. Now, there are still some good people around, but when you have all the SJWs run into Ruby, I mean, it just went downhill. And to think that Ruby at one point in time, crazy thing is, I've been there since the beginning, okay? I've been there since the Red trailer. And some of you watching this may have been as well. And you'll know what I'm talking about when I mean, like, one time, Ruby as a community, it used to be very chill, and it used to be very open-minded. And then, of course, when the SJWs jumped in, oh man, that totally changed, and it just became a toxic landslide. I mean, oh, and Rooster Teeth themselves, went downhill as well, making it worse. I mean, pandering to those people, it's crazy. Also have to say, the Rave fandom is also very good. I don't think I've ever seen a problem come out of Rave, like when it came to that fandom. Man, because God, I love that series so much. But I haven't ever seen any problems come out of that. I mean, I've even talked to some of my friends that still were fans of it to this very day. I mean, they're really chill too. But yeah, I mean, that's some comparisons I'd probably say. Alex Kidd asks, question 1. You think Emiya can solo most characters in Ruby? Yes. He was a badass in the Fate series. I mean, God, I loved him. Too bad he died. But I think that he would be able to take down basically everybody in Ruby, in my opinion. That's just me. What kind of semblance would Kiritsugu have? I feel like he would have something like a ricochet, where his bullets that he had, I feel like he would be able to bounce them in whatever direction he'd want. I feel like that would be great. And he would be able to, just shoot them through people. I think that'd be kind of awesome, actually. I'd be all for it. Question 3. If you had to make up a team of 4 like Ruby from any series you like, who would they be and what is their team name? Team Glad, Giorno, Lucina, Artoria, and Dio. Beat that team. I'd be glad to see them beat everybody. Especially Giorno, you'd never win against Giorno. Anime AK116 asks, hey Draco, just let you know my name is pronounced Anime AK116. They're separate in saying it, just thought it'd be helping you out. Yeah, thank you. I did notice that, by the way, so thank you. Or just anime for short. But my question to you is, given that Klein only spent time with Weiss and Whitley, is in need of a better father figure, what do you think of CT99 from the 3rd season of Clone Wars would be a good parent figure for him? Yeah, no, I mean, I think they could work. CT99 could work. But man, I wish we could have seen more OCCT99 from the Clone Wars than just 2 episodes we got. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a shame. It's just really kind of more like well, not one off, but like a 2 off episode character. I mean, that was a bit of a shame. My second question today is, do you think CT99's death had a bigger impact on the characters in the Clone Wars when Penny's death in Volume 3? I think. So, what about you? Yes. I mean, because they destroyed Penny's death. Like, bringing her back ruined it. CT99 never came back, and that was impactful. But when it comes to Penny, her coming back, yeah, that just it ruined her death. I mean, there was no emotion from it. There was no development because they took that away. I mean, it sucked. Mr. Lonely Soul asks, Draco, question for the Q&A. Epic Rap Battles of History has announced their first battle is Trump versus Biden. Gonna watch it. I haven't watched them in a while, but yeah, I'll definitely check it out. P.S. Please tell your name when you read my question. I am the man that is everywhere and nowhere. That is my name. But anyways, yeah, good question, man. Johnny Q asks, do you think Lelouch beat Team Ruby and everyone else besides Salem? I think he could beat everyone, including Salem, because he's got the Gios. He can just mind control them to kill themselves. And then when it comes to Salem, I mean, he could just like mind control her to basically be nothing. Like he could just tell her to stop. Or, he could mind control God like he did in Code Geass and just erase Salem. So yeah, no, Lelouch beats everyone. Anime AK116 asks, hey Draco, what do you think of my Role of a Brother series of fan art? Yeah, no, I've seen it. You've shown it to me. I do like it. I think it's actually very well done. Your artist that you had do this for you is very good. I really like the art here. The artists definitely knew what they were doing, and I think it looks really, really cool. And part 1 and part 2 look great. Like I said, the artist you had commission these or do them as a request, whatever, like fantastic. Credit to the artist, and you should definitely have them do more of the art for you because they do a really good job. Sexy Neo asks, why can't we have nice things? That's a good question. Ask 2020. Because this year has delivered a lot of hardships for tons of people. Oh man, this God, what is this year? Like, what is 2020? I genuinely ask this question at this point because, like, oh, 2020 is, oh, I don't know. Like I said, ask 2020. That's the best way to put it. Mr. Lonely Soul asks, since 2020 is the year of hell, how do you think humanity will end itself? Oh, that's clearly obvious. I mean, humanity's going to end itself through Twitter. Twitter is going to be, the harbinger of destruction. It's going to bring doom to the world. Oh, God, I can't stand Twitter. Twitter was definitely a mistake. Nothing but a cesspool of garbage. That's what Twitter is. Oh, man. Ronan Slayer asks, do pi. Basically, can you say the entire numbers of pi with no breaths in between? I see what you're doing there. No, I can't, because nobody can, because pi is infinite. It keeps going forever and ever, so no. I obviously cannot. But I see what you're doing there. Nice try. Nice try. So, Sexy Dio asks, if they do make another Doom game, you think they should add some of the demons from Doom 3? I like their designs and abilities. That would be cool. I think that they had some really good, actual interesting designs. I think the newest Doom Eternal, though, one of my problems is what they did with the music. But, like, when it comes to the designs, I thought they were pretty cool. But yeah, Doom 3's designs, yeah, they were pretty cool. I mean, I remember back in the days when Doom was still on the Nintendo, like the old platform Nintendo, Super Nintendo. I'm sure many people probably remember that. But yeah, I remember playing Doom back then, so to think where it's come, between then and now is insane. Anime AK116 asks, hey Draco, given Summer's reveal in Volume 6 and 7, and now that Kirby is finally talking about her, what do you think Summer's personality was before she got the axe? If what Yang said was true from Volume 2, then do you think she'd be the type of person to adopt orphans? The reason why I ask is because, well, those lovely fan art from Manu-chan. I would say that she's just like Ruby, because when you think about Volume 5, what Raven stated when Ruby was trying to convince Raven to join her to fight on the same side, Raven stated that she sounds just like her mother. So I wouldn't be surprised if Summer's basically like a grown-up version of Ruby, because that's basically what they're giving us at this point, because that's all we really know. But yeah, no, she'd probably adopt a kid, maybe. I don't know, possibly. Then again, she'd probably just leave him with the father, who would probably just ignore the kid, and then she'd run off to do training or whatever else. James95 asks, what do you think of this ship, and what do you think of Mashu? So this is supposed to be King Arthur and Artoria. I mean, hey, ship whatever you want. I mean, no, I mean, it's interesting to say the least. But yeah, no, I don't have anything against it. It's kind of like they're dating themselves, though, so. Yeah, when I mean themselves, I mean, gender bent versions of themselves. That's, you know what I mean. Yeah. Interesting stuff, to say the least. And MASH, yes. No, actually, MASH is one of my favorite waifus in Fate. So, yes, I am a big fan of MASH. Always enjoyed MASH's character. Feel kind of bad for her, because she only has, like, 2 years to live in the timeline, though, so it's pretty sad, actually. But yeah, good question, man. Nothing Nas asks, thoughts on Touhou? Me and a friend have recently become fans of the series around the last 2 years. Oh, I love it. You want to talk about something I've enjoyed watching, because I've always been like a fan of Vocaloid. And so, Touhou was also something I got into when I was watching Vocaloid, right? And, oh man, I have loved it ever since. I mean, good stuff. I have a few favorite characters, which there's another question that has to do with me answering that. So I'll get to that, who my favorite character is in all of Touhou in just a moment. But yes, always enjoyed it. I love watching the fan anime of it that people do. Like, oh man, it's so good. I don't know. I just love watching it. Nothing Nas asks, again, hey Nick, another question. This one involves fighting games, whether it be stylized series, Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, Arcana Hearts, etc., or more realistic ones. And when I mean realistic, that's very loose, mind you. I mean series like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Soul Calibur, Dead or Alive, and so on. So in simple terms, non-weeby fighting games meant for manly men, with no time for anime. What are you talking about, manly men not having any time for anime? What are we talking about that? Get out of here with that. But anyways, I've noticed they tend to be a waifu source for a lot of people, including myself. So for my question, top 10 fighting game waifus, or 5, I don't know how many fighting game series you played, include Smash or Marvel Capcom for all I care, if it's not that much. So definitely Chun-Li from Street Fighter. Always liked her, and you gotta look at those kicks, man. You know what I mean? Because it's as they say, thick thighs saves lives. Yeah, I've always been a fan of Chun-Li. And then also Mai Shiranui. I mean, she's been a character I've always enjoyed. I've always loved how they brought her back into Dead or Alive. I really love Mai Shiranui. Android 21. I have to say, when it came down to it, Toriyama knew what he was doing when he made this character. I mean, powerful, has great personality, good character. I think a great story, even though there's multiple stories, but you get my point. The main story, really, and just a sweet waifu overall. 100%. He knew what he was doing when he made, Android 21. 100%. Got to give him that. Zhang Hua is a character I've loved, from Soul Calibur. I have loved her character. I would always, kind of hurdle people, just keep bobbing them up in the air. I also really loved a redesign that they did for Soul Calibur 6, because Soul Calibur 6 is a reboot of the series, because Soul Calibur 5, man, we don't talk about Soul Calibur 5. But yeah, I do like Shenghua. She's one of my favorites. And another one, because, I love Soul Calibur. Taki is another one. Always been a favorite. If there's anything I could ever do, I would definitely buy the, basically it's $1,000 now, a statue of Taki from Soul Calibur 2 when that came out. There was this 12-inch figurine. Oh man, I've always wanted to get that statue. I missed out on it when I had the chance back in the day. But Taki's been one of my mains. And Cassandra from Soul Calibur. I've always loved her character. Sophidia has always been a fan favorite, and I like Sophidia, but Cassandra, always my favorite, and I just adore her redesign in Soul Calibur 6. I think she looks excellent in that game, and I have had so much fun playing as her character since she's returned. Oh man, worth it. I loved it. Tifa, because Tifa's actually been in some fighter games. So, Tifa's always been a character I've loved since Final Fantasy. And considering that she has been a character that's been playable in some fighting games, I have loved playing as Tifa. Then again, she's one of my all-time favorite waifus. So, gotta go Tifa. Neo, because why wouldn't I? Yeah, it would be a sin if I did not put Neo on this list, because everybody knows I love Neo, damn it. but yeah, Neo definitely on there from Blaze Blue. Fun character to play as. Palutena from Smash, even though Palutia's from Kid Icarus before that, but Sakurai knew what he was doing when he created this character, and my god, the buffs that she got in Smash Ultimate are fantastic. I mean, I love playing as her. I really do. Lucina, because why wouldn't I? I mean, Lucina is the number one waifu for me. I love this character in Fire Emblem, and then when she was introduced into Smash, oh man, I was so happy about that. And besides, if she was a real person, oh yeah, I would have to slap a ring on that finger. That is prime waifu material right there, 100%. And I just love playing as her character. Had a lot of fun in Smash with her. So yeah, good questions, man. Foster Yeager asks, for September's Q&A, if you could own any automobile, what would it be? Gas mileage and price or no object? Any form of a Porsche, because I am a big fan of Porsches. So basically anything that's a Porsche, realistically, I would go with, because that is my favorite type of vehicle, if I had to say. I don't know. I mean, that's just my favorite personally. When with gas mileage and price being no object at all, man, yeah, how many people would go out there and buy their dream car? You know what I'm saying? Their dream vehicle. Oh man, yes, that's what I would do. I would definitely go and get a Porsche, 100%. But that's just me. And then when it comes to top 10 waifus to work out with, well, one of them definitely being Mikasa. Because if you look at how she works out in Attack on Titan, yeah, she'd definitely be one character that you'd have to go with. And besides, just look at her. And then Annie. Annie's another one, actually. It's funny because I have a tied interest for Annie and Mikasa. So, I'd have to go with Annie. And she knows how to fight pretty well, so definitely Annie. Mirako, because she's awesome. If you've seen what she's been able to do within the Boku no Hero Academia manga, oh man, is Mirako like freaking fantastic. I just cannot help but love her character. She's great. Then another one being Artoria, because Artoria would get you into shape. But remember, getting strong and learning how to be a leader, well, it's going to come with hunger, because you're going to need to feed her. Because she's going to eat a lot. And then, of course, when it comes to another one, Mordred. Because it's Mordred. Because I would always work out with Mordred. You can't stop me. I'd do it. Yes, 100%. Oh, man. Yes. And also, you'd basically be able to berserk like crazy. So, yeah, no, Mordred. And then when it comes down to it, Erza and Mira. I'm putting them both on the same scale here because they're both terrifying. You see the Satan souls that Mira has and how terrifying she can be? Yeah, no, that would be someone definitely to work out with and get stronger with. And then, of course, Erza, who can, I'm not even kidding, punch a freaking meteor and destroy it. She's Superman of Fairy Tail. She is the Superman. You can't convince me that she's not. So, yeah, those two definitely for certain. Another character I would definitely work out with would be Revy, because she's a badass. I mean, she will kick ass, take names, and also, some of that workout might have to do with weapons. So, yeah, who would say no to that? Am I right or am I right? So, definitely Revy. Another one would definitely be Zenobia, because Zenobia is the best girl in DxD in my opinion. Love Zenobia to this very day. And, good sword training, because, she knows how to wield a sword. So, Zenobia all the way, 100%. And then another one I would probably say would be Yoruichi, because who doesn't like Yoruichi? I mean, watching her train Ichigo and Bleach, yeah, that was pretty awesome. So, yeah, I gotta go with Yoruichi on that one. I think she would be able to make someone become an excellent fighter. And so then the next question would be, if you could live in Japan, where would you live? Oh, man, there's so many options. God, so many gorgeous options. I mean, this is going to sound pretty generic, but I'd probably say Tokyo because of the, manga museum they have there. Oh, man, that would be awesome to be able to stop by there. Oh, man, that would be great. I mean, I do plan to go visit, Japan sometime, so, that would be so good to do. I'd love it. Anime AK116 asks, hey Draco, you should definitely do a meme review like how Brandon Herrera does with gun memes. I mean, yeah, I could do that sometime. I'm up for it. I mean, if anybody would like to see me do it, I definitely could. So, yeah, I could definitely do some memes sometime. Like a review memes. That'd be great. Yeah. So next question is from Mr. DJ Fly High. Who would win in a fight between the Twin Star Exorcist and the Demon Slayer Corpse? Oh, that's a good question. If I had to guess, I would probably go with the Twin Star Exorcist. I mean, I know the Demon Slayer Corpse is very strong, but I kind of have to feel that the Twin Star Exorcist would have the upper hand in combat. So, I mean, if I really had to put my money on anyone, it'd probably be the Twin Star Exorcist. Now, while the Demon Slayer Corpse is strong, I have to go with the Twin Star Exorcist. Johnny Q asks, do you think Zeon could beat Atlas and White Fang altogether since they fought the Earth to a stalemate? Yes. Colony drop. What more do I need to say? Atlas, White Fang, they're done. It's over. GG. Because that's all. Like, what are they going to do to a colony drop? They're not going to do anything. They're just going to lose. So, yeah, no, Zeon would easily win. Besides, they wouldn't have to do that. They got Gundams. They win. 60Dio asks, what would you think if any of the Ruby girls became VTubers? Okay, one, Neo. Number one. No doubt. Give me Cinder as well. Even though she's poorly written, she'd be a good VTuber, I think. Same with Raven. She's poorly written, but I think that she would also be a good VTuber. Also go with Pyra. Pyra would also be another really good one. But those are my personal opinions. That would be fantastic if some of them became VTubers. Be all for it. Anime AK116 asks, hey Draco, I have a question. Ever read the Chronicles of Narnia books? If so, which one was your favorite and why? Also, if you were to use the very old versions of Ruby characters, as in pre-volume 3 characters, to do a play or a remnant adaptation of Chronicles of Narnia, who would play who and why. So I have never read the books. I know of the series. I watched like the old movie like back in the day. But no, I have never actually read the book, so I couldn't tell you which one's my favorite or which characters they could play as. So I'm sorry on that one. Also, hey, check out this art from Manu-chan. It's adorable. Yeah, the artist is really good. I mean, that's without question. That's a very good artist right there. So definitely great art. Bailing asks, "Hey DL, I hope you're enjoying your day. I have some questions I'm really interested in for this September Q&A." Well, thanks, man. Hope you're having a great day yourself and everyone watching as well. Would Goblin Slayer make a great opponent against Link? Yes, I think he would make an excellent opponent, but I think Goblin Slayer would win. I think he'd come out as the victor. Current assassin class servant waifu in Fate. Oh, well, that's pretty easy because my favorite is Jack the Ripper. I mean, Jack the Ripper has always been my favorite in terms of assassin class servants. So, yeah, I gotta go 100% with Jack the Ripper on that one. All the way. So, yeah. Did you buy Octopath Traveler yet? No, I haven't. I, sadly enough, haven't had the time. I really want to. That's one of the games that's on my list here. So, yes, I do plan to buy Octopath Traveler. I can't wait to do that. Ever heard of the bartender game called Valhalla? It's pretty good, but it's a visual novel, kind of like Ace Attorney. No, I haven't, but I could give it a check and then see what I think about it. But yeah, sounds pretty interesting because I do really enjoy the Ace Attorney series. So yeah, that actually sounds like it'd be really cool. So I will be sure to give that a shot. Which waifu would you choose? Pyra, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, or Ryza? At Leo Ryza, Ever Darkness, and the Secret Hideout. Okay, that's it for me. Have a great day, pal. Well, hey, appreciate the questions. So if I had to choose, though, they're both tough because I like Ryza and I like Pyra both. Because, like, the design of Ryza is really good. Love her design. But, oh, man, I spent so much time on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like, I love Pyra's character. While I do like Atli or Ryza, God, I gotta go with Pyra because Pyra is such a sweet character. I don't know. She's just a positive, just blast. I love her. And then again, you also get Mithra out of that. So you get the best of both worlds, if you know what I mean. Ah! Oh, but yeah, no, I gotta go with Pyra 100%. That's just me, though. Sexy Neo asks, you think Russia should sing death metal? With how she screams sometimes, you think it would be perfect for her? Yeah, I'd be all for it. I'd be all for listening to her actually do that because, I enjoy her playthroughs, and whenever she does scream, whenever, like, she dies in a game or something, yeah, no, I think that she would probably be able to do it. So, yeah, if she ever decided to do that, oh, yeah, I'd be all for checking that out. 100%. Yeah, good question, man. Nothing Nass asks, what would be worse, Sims 4 being used to deliver Star Wars canon similar to Fortnite, or the MCU making a safe space and so movie along with all the other characters in their team that I think we forget the names of? Oh God, I think the Marvel movie of Safe Space and Snowflake would be worse. Safe Space and Snowflake would be a terrible, horrible movie. Like, the new Woke Warriors would be trash. God, that would be horrible. I think that'd be worse, personally. I think it'd be far worse, but that's just my opinion. Mr. Lonely Soul asks, I think this might have been asked, but describe your OC Ruby team. So I've kind of like changed a few things around with that, but I would have the team be named Karma. Of course, the leader of the team, her name is Karma, and she actually has heterochromia, where she, like Neo, has two different colored eyes. One is red and one is blue. And she uses her bangs on one side to hide one of her eyes. She has a good thirst for battle, and so basically she uses a lance to battle with, and her lance can actually transform into a rifle that has a cannon for a barrel, and she shoots out explosive rounds. And also, whenever she uses her spear, dust can come at the tip, and that can actually use the elements that of the dust that she's using, so that'll be really cool. And then she's a very swift fighter. Not only is she very swift at combat, but her semblance is going to be known as vampirism. And so what the semblance does is every single time she smacks an opponent, right? Every single time she hits either their blade or she hits them, she actually shaves a part of their aura, especially if she hits their body. And then she absorbs that for herself, and it adds to her own aura reserve. And then the more she damages, also the more her battle style starts to get intense. So it ups her power and her speed whenever she also does this. She's a very powerful character, and she's very hard to take down. So the next one is Rizza. So Rizza is a character that how she works is she actually uses a sword and a shield combination, and the shield can actually create barriers. And then, of course, when it comes to the sword itself can actually turn into a pistol, but it has a hook to the blade. So the blade itself that she has actually is what she shoots out of it. And you can have dust inside the blade itself, like in the center of the blade, and then whatever that is, it activates, the dust, which can be explosive, it could be some other element as well. And how her semblance works is Rizza has a semblance, and what the semblance is known as is lockdown. So what it does is when she activates lockdown, it locks all of her opponents that she's up against their semblances, so they cannot use their semblance at all. So if they're using their semblance, she can just lock it down throughout the duration of the fight until she loses her aura, of course. So that's pretty broken, I think, but a good way to take care of a semblance problem if in case there is one. And it also nullifies the effects, so if it shuts down the semblance stops its effect as well. And then of course there is Midori, which she is a maid, and she's actually Karma's maid because they actually knew each other in terms of Karma's backstory as well as her own. Midori's weapon, she uses 2 handguns. Now you're probably wondering, well, how are they relevant? Well, when she actually puts the handguns together, they turn into a double blade, kind of weapon. It's actually pretty cool, like a double bladed sword. And so her own semblance is known as Servitude. And what Servitude does is it's a support semblance that she uses that can up the aura, the power of the semblance, as well as the strength and speed of the character she's boosting. So she typically works well with Karma because her and Karma, amplifying Karma's abilities is insane. So she basically makes Karma a tanky sweeper, which is terrifying when you look at it. And the final member is Arya. So Arya, she's interesting. So how she fights, she actually fights with a staff. Now, the staff is kind of like a wizard staff, but it's like as if it was like upgraded to be kind of like a futuristic look to it. It has a ball in the center, and from the ball, of course, she can put dust inside the chamber. And when she does, that obviously uses the elements, as usual, however she pleases. But one big thing about her semblance is it's known as crosscut. So what crosscut does is when she triggers her semblance, she takes a fourth of her own aura, but when she does, she's able to completely eradicate the aura of the enemy she's fighting against. So it completely just destroys their aura. So they have to build it back up, obviously, but when this happens, she just breaks her aura immediately. So yeah, while she may be taking a fourth of her own aura, she takes all of her opponents, which leaves her opponents in a very terrible and desperate spot, which I think is actually really cool. Maybe I'll go into that more in the future of these characters, but yeah, that's my team that I've been really working on. Nothing Nas asks, why does Dio look so hot in this scantily clad orange and purple Halloween Eve getup? It works surprisingly well on her. Either way, I know what my Halloween candy is this year. Oh, yeah, because she's good in everything. Neo looks good in anything because it's Neo, because you gotta love the ice cream girl because she is best girl. So, of course, she looks good in anything. I mean, that's a fact. When it comes down to it, Neo, she looks good in anything. I mean, it's Neo. She knows how to do it, and she's also the master of disguise. So there's also that. But Alex Kidd then goes on to ask, what do you think is a good example of a well-done fight scene? Ruby's Volume 1 and 2. Like, Ruby Volumes 1 and 2. But they were good. Of course, now when it comes to, actual, writing, that's different. I think that, you definitely have to have good impact, because when it comes to your action always needs to be something that's memorable. If you have like a fight that is boring and bland and it doesn't really add to the story, like for example, like it's completely out of context, it really doesn't work well. But like if you have a fight like Jotaro and Dio, for example, that's an excellent fight. There's a lot of impact there. There's a lot that was built up to that fight. It makes it excellent, in my opinion. But how it's written, the build up, the execution, that's always very important when it comes to a fight scene. Always very important. Anime AK116 asks, "Hey Draco, are you familiar with the term Jody? If not, it's basically a term given to the guy who's doing some things with your girlfriend when you're away for a long while." Now, if you knew that, okay then. But if not, there's the context for the meme. What do you think? Yeah, I actually have heard of that, term before, so that's not anything new to me. But this this meme is about Blake, Yang, and then the Chad Sun Wukong. Because let's be real, Sun Wukong, he was the real champion. He should have actually been the one to get with Blake, in my opinion. I mean, that relationship, Black Sun, makes so much more sense than Bumblebee does, in my opinion. Would Miles be mad at Yang if she wanted Iron Daddy? Oh yeah, no, I'm very certain he would. Oh man, you want to talk about hilarious memes? Yeah, I've seen these, and they're absolutely fantastic. And I don't think it would just be Miles who'd be mad about it. I think it would also be Barbara. I mean, in fact, all of Rooster Teeth would probably be mad at it. It'd be a good way to troll them. But yeah, you look at it. Yeah, no, for sure. They would be furious, and I would laugh so hard. That would be like the best troll to them. Oh man, you want to talk about a perfect troll? That would be it right there. Assault Shaker asks, "Hey Nick, here's my questions for this month's Q&A. 1. What are your thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's?" Five Nights at Freddy's is okay. Personally, it's been kind of meh to me. Like, I don't care much for it, but I don't hate it either. But there's a lot of people who are into it. So, hey, to those who like it, more power to you. What are your thoughts on Touhou, and what is your favorite character and favorite game? Oh man, okay, so I could go into a list of favorite characters, but I'm going to cut it very short here because I really want to get to like my favorites. So Mei Ling and Sakuya are two of my favorites. I really enjoy both of them. Mei Ling, I think, is fantastic as a character. I really love her in the animated shorts. And then, of course, my number one character is Marisa. That's my number one favorite because, man, I love her and her shenanigans. So good. What are your thoughts on the video game God Hand, and can you review the game sometime in the future in some of your videos? So I've never played it, so I don't know. I could check it out and see if I like it or not. So yeah, maybe we'll see. What is your favorite role by Johnny Depp besides him as Jack Sparrow, and why? I liked him in Transcendence. He played as the Doctor in that one. I think his name was Will Castor, if I remember right. And I think it was one of those kind of cool ideas of like how you could still live without your body. It kind of gave the perspective of how that could be possible. I thought that was cool. I thought that movie was actually very interesting. But yeah, I thought that was one of his best roles in my opinion. If you want Johnny Depp to cast a villain, what would your money be on and why? Yeah, I've never really thought about it. I mean, I think he could be like kind of a good quirky villain if you want it to be. I don't know. I think he'd be good at that, especially seeing how he played as Jack Sparrow and everything. I mean, he wasn't a villain, in that, but he could actually be a good quirky villain, I think. What are your thoughts on Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow? I got into the game recently after cleaning up my room and got to play it last Friday. I like the Castlevania series in general. Dawn of Sorrow is not bad. I think the best one they ever made, though, was Symphony of the Night. Now, that one, Symphony of the Night, I think is the best Castlevania game ever made. And that was all the way back in 1997. So, that to me is the best Castlevania game, I think, that ever did exist. But, yeah, Dawn of Sorrow is not bad, though. I think it's really good. Can you read this transcript while doing impressions of Medic, Heavy, and Soldier from Team Fortress 2? The names is where you will recognize them. Only thing is, like, towards the last bit, I will have to kind of alter things as a YouTube and how YouTube is in its policies. But, yeah, no, I can do it. Probably won't do a good job, but yeah, I can try. Hey, Medic, I like Uzaki-chan. Uzaki-chan? More like Puzaki-chan.
Actually, Medic, Uzaki-chan is cool. It's a slice of life anime starring Uzaki-chan, the girl who wears the Sukaitiki shirt that hangs out with her boyfriend. Harry, you must stop watching Uzaki-chan. It's a show made by bad people for bad people. Be quiet, American. Uzaki-chan is the show.
Sorry, that was that was terrible. I know that was a very terrible impression, so I do apologize. But yeah, hopefully you liked it. It's still awful. So that was really bad on my part. But yeah, thanks for the questions, man. Minato Arisoto asks, have you ever watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? If so, then what's your opinion of the show, and who's your favorite character in the show? Oh, I mean, like, I love that show. My favorite characters are Charlie Day's character and, Frank. Oh, man, Danny DeVito, he's one of the best actors in that show. I mean, he and Charlie Day, I think, are the best parts. Oh man, that show is great. The comedy is just hilarious, and the dumb things that the characters get themselves into, it's glorious. Oh man, I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like, that's a show that I've always had a lot of fun with when I watch it. It's great. Sexy Neo asks, Dragon Lord Nick, what anime characters would you say are similar to Azula? You know, thinking about this, considering that she was narcissistic, she was about herself, and it was all about her gaining power and using others to her benefit. That sounds like Cinder, except for Cinder's like the worst version of Azula. Oh, they can't even be original with Cinder. Oh, God, that's good question, man. Shiny Q asks, who's the better sibling, Char from Gundam or Yang for Ruby? Char. I mean, yeah, he helped his sister out, and then, of course, she got involved in the war. Yeah, well, isn't the best sibling, but he's better than Yang. When has Yang ever been there for Ruby? Yep, still waiting on that one. Still waiting on responses to that one. Yep. Still waiting for thought to come to my head on when Yang ever did anything for Ruby. Still waiting on it. Nothing to ask. Would you say Ayla Secura is better role model for women than sequel characters like Rose, Holdo, and Rey? Fun fact, inspiring females within her race is actually part of why she wears such hot clothing. Not even kidding. That's awesome. And yes, she is much better than any of the sequel characters. Sequel characters are trash. Holdo was nothing but, Vice Admiral gender studies. When you have Rose Tico, she was terrible. She was nothing but a girl in a potato sack, and then Ray was, Mary Ray Sue. I mean, seriously, Ayla Secura is way better. Anime AK116 asks, what do you think of Black Rifle Coffee Company? Watch their commercials for coffee and take a look at this meme. Oh yeah, no, I think they're actually pretty good. They do pretty good commercials now. I'm not a coffee person, but I do think that their commercials are pretty good. And then, of course, you have this where they're talking about presenting the in-universe Mistral Mountains Huntress Blend. This 100% organic, free trade coffee is made with beans sourced from Peru and Sumatra from an all-women-owned roastery. A plain Twitter image versus Chad YouTube commercials. Remember, kids, freedom from the grim is found in cycling. The only cycling that comes from Grim is them just dying off, running and dying off, running and dying off. That's like a recycling act. So, yeah, it's pretty much what the Grim go through all the time. Oh, man. Oh, that's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I do like that. That's pretty good. Oh, that is pretty good. Nothing to ask. Got a bit of a serious one. Any advice for someone who has a severe tab addiction worsened due to YouTube's homepage having so many videos that realistically said person isn't going to be able to go through all of them in a day? Person's own fault, or it being YouTube's up to you. Maybe the person just wants to blame his problems on an admittedly sucky homepage. Also, keep in mind the loop that would ensure from videos on the homepage the next day or just by accidentally clicking the YouTube icon again. Sad addiction is so bad that the person is afraid of even taking breaks to do fun things like play games or watch anime. I have no doubt someone is probably going through something like that. I guess the best way to handle that would be maybe kind of just have limit yourself to a certain amount of tabs. And then just try to maybe make a schedule, I guess, on what you're going to watch that day, maybe. Kind of just do that, and then try to take time away, kind of take a break if you can. I mean, that's the only thing I can really tell you. I mean, that's the best way for me to explain trying to help yourself out there. I don't know. That's tough. I guess just try to balance things out. I mean, that's the best way I guess you could go about it. I don't know. But yeah, man, I'm sorry. I hope that's a good explanation. But yeah, I'm not really sure, man. I'm sorry. Hopefully it all gets worked out. Anime AK 116 asks, you have to admit it's true. So then taking a look at the meme, Vale, hey Atlas, how's Mistral? Atlas, oh, it was great. Here, beat our new allies. And then it shows Team Ruby and company. I'm a spy and I'm here to kill you all. Oh, wait, you mean like what they did to Atlas, basically. They doomed Atlas, so that's true. Hey Draco, would a ship between Crow and Blake be like in your eyes? Oh, what would it be like? I don't care. I mean, really, I don't. Blake, hey Crow, how about you and I head upstairs? And how about no? I've seen the type of novels you read. Boy. Best way I can put it is, I don't care. I mean, people can ship whatever they want. It doesn't matter. That's fine with me. I don't care. Johnny Q asks, would you rather be in World of Monster Hunter where you have to fight supernatural monsters who could destroy the entire continent, or Attack on Titan? Oh god, I'd rather be in Monster Hunter. At least I'd have a chance of survival. I feel like in Attack on Titan, my chance of survival is even more slim than it would be in Monster Hunter. So, if I had to choose between one world or the other, yeah, I definitely am going Monster Hunter, 100%. At least I feel like I can fight back. Because, like, fighting against Titans, yeah, I don't feel like I'd be able to fight back against that very well. I mean, if I had to be straight up with you, I really don't feel like it would go very well. And I feel like there's more of, terrible things coming from Titans than there are the monsters in Monster Hunter, but that's just me. But yeah, good question, Ben. Cage POG asks, do Shadow Clones have juices? I'll say this. If they do, whoever gets to the person that can produce Shadow Clones, well, I guess they're a very lucky person. Oh, that's great. Thanks for the question. I appreciate it. But hey, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this Q&A. This Q&A is great. I always enjoy answering your questions. The next Q&A is going to be right around the corner because, the next month is almost here. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow can always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.